Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It is Tuesday, the 28th of April, 2026. I'm your host, Calixte George Jr. And of course, in addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website, rcistlucia.com. We are streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. You can check us out there. You just have to search for the official page, as I said, of Radio Caribbean International. We, of course, are on 101.1 FM radio. And if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And as well, WhatsApp number, that is 284-6001. You can call in, you can message in on that number, 284-6001. I look back in time on this day, April the 28th, 1611, the establishment of the Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, the Catholic University of the Philippines, the oldest existing university in Asia and the largest Catholic university in the world. 1770 on this day, British Captain James Cook aboard the HMS Endeavour lands in Australia at Botany Bay. In the year 1789 on this day, again in the Pacific, Fletcher Christian led a mutiny aboard another of His Majesty's ships, this time the Bounty, against its captain William Bligh in the South Pacific. Of course, that became a famous novel. In 1910 on this day, the first night air flight by Claude Graham White took place in England. 1937 on this day, Pan Am operated the first scheduled commercial trans-Pacific flight. 1977 on this day, Andreas Baader and members of the terrorist group Red Army faction of Baader Meinhof gang were jailed for life after a trial lasting nearly 2 years in Stuttgart, Germany. And as well, just a bit of a note, on this day in 1902, April the 28th, using the ISO 8601 standard year zero definition for the Gregorian calendar, preceded by the Julian calendar, the 1 billionth minute since the start of January 1 year zero occurred at 10:40 a.m. on this date. Very interesting little tidbit there. We now head across to take in our dish of the day.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
Welcome back to the Lunchroom here on Radio Caribbean International. And we do hope that you're having a very blessed day. Many in St. Lucia are, of course, reveling in the presence of Mr. Darren Jason Watkins Jr. And he's known as I Show Speed. And he's just 21 years old. He's an American YouTube star, streamer, and rapper, very much renowned for his high energy, chaotic, and often comedic live streams. And he gained massive popularity for his passionate gaming content, particularly FIFA and Talking Bend. And he's also famous for a very loud persona and devoted fandom. And certainly he has tens of millions of followers around the world. I think I've heard about 47 million, although I did hear more recently as somebody quoting a 60 million figure. But it is a lot of people certainly following a 21-year-old. And he's right here in St. Lucia. He's been island hopping. He was recently in Trinidad and Tobago as well as in Barbados, and he's here for the night. Well, he was here last night, and he's supposed to be next in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And of course, he's been around for about a year, about 10 years now. Sorry, he became somewhat famous back in the year 2016, and when he started off, and by 2021, he gained his first 1 million subscribers. So that's a very interesting journey and story of how those things go. He, in fact, took, what is it, about 5 years before he gained his first 1 million subscribers. And since then, another 5 years later, that has gone up 46 fold. And that is phenomenal, an exponential increase in followers. And that really goes to show perhaps the power of social media. And indeed, as he was traversing many parts of the Caribbean, lots of people following him, lots getting into the whole fandom movement, which of course exists out there. And so certainly we want to welcome him here to St. Lucia and hope that, of course, he has a fantastic time. I do believe the good people over at the St. Lucia Tourism Authority are ensuring that his delegation and himself, of course, are having a wonderful, grounded opportunity right here in St. Lucia, and of course, going to visit the Castries Market and taking in a little bit of KFC at this moment. So certainly, we want to play note of this visit of I Show Speed and wish him the very, very best on his continued journey in through the Caribbean. Now, as we speak about the Caribbean, the breakdown or the itinerary of the upcoming Caribbean Premier League, that is out. And of course, the St. Lucia Kings will be looking to do some justice on their home matches, which are going to be played at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground this coming August. And I know it's already, as we have ongoing SPL happening here in St. Lucia, lots of cricket interest already. And that is, of course, despite all that is happening in terms of St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Yes, people are still finding the time to get out there and to enjoy SPL. But the CPL, no doubt, will be very interesting and very hotly contended, especially given that we're seeing the return of Jamaica into the mix, and a very similar name, the Kingsmen. And certainly it'll be very interesting indeed. 5 matches to be played here in St. Lucia between the 12th of August until the 21st of August. Wednesday, the 12th, it'll be kicking off with a match against the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. The Friday at 7, and in fact all the matches are at 7 p.m., 7 in the evening. The Friday match will be against the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons on Friday the 14th of August. Sunday the 16th of August, the Barbados Royals. Wednesday the 19th, the following week, the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Of course, that match will certainly be a very keenly contested one, and as well a match up against the Jamaica Kingsmen on the 21st of August. So something to look forward to. Didn't see anything about matches against Trinidad, but I guess we'll have to check out for that at some point. So, of course, lots going on right here in St. Lucia that we should also make mention of, and that is in respect of quite a lot of plays being put on. There was one not too long ago by Travis Weeks, and that gained quite a lot of attention. I think it was done over 2 nights, 2 separate showings of that production, and as well, I believe there's another one coming up. This one in honor of Sparrow. That is being put on in part with the support of the CDF. And of course, the CDF are the main presenters of the Arts in the City component of the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. An often underappreciated aspect of the festival that has been putting on quite a bit of very good content. This year as well, we did note the introduction of the culinary arts into the mix and an honoring of Chef Harry. Of course, the gregarious owner of the Green Parrot restaurant up on the Mon, one of St. Lucia's very early and well-known hoteliers and persons, patrons, and certainly a great lover of the arts, always willing to sing for his guests who may have been enjoying his famous pumpkin soup and all these other meals. And certainly over at Sandals Grand, there were some wonderful pairings of various St. Lucian cuisine that were on and available for the persons who were patronizing that. So definitely we want to certainly encourage as many people as possible to head out and to take in the culinary options, the musical options, and of course the theatrical options as well that are being put on at this time. Another one that's coming up for Art in the City on Monday, May the 4th. It's called Voices of the Underground, and that'll be featuring Linton Kwesi Johnson, and it'll be a bit of a mix of spoken word, I believe, as well, and dub poetry. All of that will be happening. The likes of Kendall Hippolyte and Shine Savory, Krista Setage, Vernell Alcee, Tito Adams, Emile Williams, Tia Christopher, and Word Up. And that's happening at the National Cultural Center as well. So there is a great variety of offering on within this current season. So you may have missed Travis Weeks's Don't Call Me Baby, which of course he's put on twice thus far. As I said, there's the Sparrow event, which is happening as well. And of course, this one, Voices of the Underground. I do believe as well in the mix, Mr. Kendall Hippolyte is also going to be putting on another one of a showing of Triptych, which he has done before. He's looking to, in fact, put that on, I think it might be this coming weekend, if memory serves me correct. But we get all the dates for you during the week and to ensure that you have a good sense of what is in fact coming up for this season. And of course, as always, the launch of the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival, that will be kicking off come this Thursday at the Mindu Phillip Park, which has traditionally been the place where it all starts off. And lots of interest there, no doubt, in respect of that event. So we do hope that everybody tries as much as possible to have a safe jazz season. Of course, unfortunately, we've noted what has happened down in Soufrière, and I know there's some efforts at play already to try to certainly stymie and snuff any of the air that is existing in terms of the friction and bad blood that's leading to this very unfortunate violence in what, of course, is the center of St. Lucia's beauty. And so certainly we want to know that it's not something that's going to grow and get anyway out of control. So we really hope that does not play any sort of negativity. And of course, lots of people are already planning to head down for this coming weekend. Schwazel kicking it off as well the following day on Friday, which is May Day. And then following that, also the Soufre jazz, very much always, greatly anticipated. And so lots of individuals, no doubt, will be heading down that side. We want to make mention tomorrow, of course. It's polling day for the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, and there, I think, over 3,000, maybe more than that, 4,000 members within the CSA. Of course, the majority of them being within the civil service, but a number of other institutions and businesses also have CSA membership because of representation there. They'll be heading to the polls, and the polling stations, just to give some mention of them for you. We just mentioned Soufre. It will be in the Cool Breeze conference room, and that's on that road heading out towards Force Jacques. Then you also have the CSA office in Vieux as a polling station. There will be a tent in the Graham Louisy parking lot, and persons there will be able to vote at that tent. The Castries Town Hall is also going to be a polling station. So if you are in the city center, you have another option. And you may be as well coming from the north of the island or in the Sanssouci area where the CSA grounds right here, of course, will be a polling station. There'll also be a polling station up at the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And I also understand that there are going to be 3 mobile polling stations, mobile units, which will be moving around. And one will be handling the Denry Miku area, another mobile unit for Castries, and another for Grosley. So lots of opportunity for members of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association to actually go out and cast their ballots. And so that's certainly something that we want to welcome and encourage individuals to ensure that they don't take their representation for granted. It is certainly, a great opportunity that you have in having union representation, but of course it's only going to be as strong as the participation and interest of the membership. So we, of course, want to encourage persons to go out and do just that. And of course, all the best to all those who have put themselves up for election in the democratic process. That is no doubt always welcome. Now, in addition to that, of course, it's Labor Day coming up on Friday, and so we want to certainly wish all the various unions and the other players within that space the very best. We have not really seen major and significant strike actions here in St. Lucia. I know there's also an effort to establish what is a tripartite advisory council. It exists and works pretty well over in Barbados from all indications, and there's been a call to have a similar sort of arrangement here in St. Lucia for quite a while. And the idea, the thinking behind it is that the major players, employers or the corporate sector, employees and employee representation, the unions, as well as the government, sit around the table and actually discuss critical issues in terms of labor, in terms of productivity. It's very difficult to have a productive workforce if people are not gelling together, if there isn't general unity of thought and in process, and you can very easily get into a situation where things become sometimes heated and grinding to a halt, and productivity falls, and all of that is not what one wants to happen. We want a productive society. We want a society that is ensuring that everybody's respected, that there's fair treatment of persons for their work, that what they're doing, and of course that at the end of the day, as a result of greater productivity, everybody can realize a profit. Companies can realize a profit. Out of that profit, government can realize tax revenue, and the entire system can, in fact, work happily. And so, of course, the idea that is, in fact, the idea behind a tripartite approach to tackling a number of these developmental challenges. And so that is very, very much welcome. And of course, let's hope as well that we can see, useful representation in terms of workers' rights. It's not something that you can always take for granted. It's a changing environment as well. Right now, there are places around the world that are considering shifts in what we consider to be the norm right about now. The norm right now is that you get, X number of days vacation, paid vacation leave. That was not the norm before. The norm right now is that you normally get weekends off. You have a 5-day work week. That was not the norm before. And the truth is, these things change over time as well. And so countries are playing around with a lot of different ideas about how to maintain social peace and how to ensure that people have a good quality of life and to be able to provide for their employees sometimes even more opportunity to strike that work home balance or that work play balance. And it is very important, especially as I said, things are changing. 50 years ago, there weren't as many females in the labor force. Today, we probably have a majority of females in the labor force. And as a result of some of these shifts, of course, we have heard the challenges in terms of family life and maintaining that balance. And so a thrust that is coming out within this context is towards potentially having a 4-day work week or having more flex work options so that individuals may actually have, in a week, they may have an opportunity to actually work from home to the benefit of their children and what have you. So there are a lot of these things that are happening, and I think we've seen a wake up through COVID, certainly in allowing and realizing that, hey, yes, with technology, with the adoption of technology, we can actually make life and people more productive while ensuring that their mental health is still respected, is still in place, and as well that they can have better environments for their children to be growing up in, for everybody to be happier as a society. So happiness has to be a major index there. It can't just simply be about the company bottom line. It can be very easy for the company to get into that mold, to think that that's what matters. But the truth is, that cannot be the sum total of development. And so, of course, it's within that context, companies have to be looking at their responsibility to the society. They have to be looking at their responsibility to the environment as well, and the sustainability of the space that they actually exist in. So we have, of course, quite a lot to take in, and within the context of Labor Day, those are very important points of discussion, and certainly points which unions have to play their role in potentially championing the direction in which the world of work takes. There are some places and there will be some realities that some people may never be able to actually work in that sense for a lot of different reasons. And within that context, the issue of how do you ensure that the society takes care of those who cannot is also there. Uh, Before, of course, the emphasis would have generally been on individuals in their old age and who may not be able to support themselves. So, of course, the whole system of pensions developed as a result of that. Uh, but we're now seeing that it can't simply be about the pensioner. We also have to certainly be thinking about, in this current scenario, about those who are coming up. And that big question, that has been raging as a result of some of the budget measures that were brought forward just recently about the whole matter of population. That, of course, is also making us see that things can't stay the same. It's no longer a situation where families were having 5 and 6 and 7 and 10 children. That has significantly, that's not happening like before, right? Where maybe every fifth family was having that many children, right? It's a rarity right about now, a significant rarity to find that that happening. And so, but at the same time, we've gone in complete reverse to the point where now we're seeing fertility rates that are so low that effectively what it will mean is that over a couple of generations, our population is actually going to get to a point where it's going to halve, right? That's going to be the result if you continue at a rate of 1.09 for fertility rate, right? And so we are half of what we need to be in terms of maintaining a population. And some will even say that in the case of St. Lucia, we probably never had an adequate size population, being under 200,000 people. So this is the reality of it, right? And so it is a major issue. And so how do you, in fact, ensure that just as you have plans in place for people when they get old, that there are also plans in place for children as well, because they are the future, and they certainly have to be able to have the kind of support that, and the parents, of course, of these children need to have the kind of support that will encourage them to actually want to bring forward children. And so this major conversation about access to childcare within the context of everybody being at work, everybody, very few people are out of work, and to say that, hey, you can leave Johnny with Auntie so-and-so, that's not happening, right? So childcare within that context, greatly important. The matter of what do they do along the way in terms of support, access to education, greatly important. Many parents would be very worried about what happens when their children turn 18 and then they have to think about entering a university. They want to get skilled. And that is also a major concern for a lot of parents. There are only so many scholarships available right now. And so policy measures like what you're seeing in respect of Barbados, for example, saying, hey, in the same way we put aside money for your pension, we will also put aside money for your education, or for when you become an adult and you actually want to continue that journey. And so that's why they've put forward this proposal to create this fund. You say set aside as soon as a child turns, is born, you're setting aside a particular sum of money, which can then be put aside for investment, accrue value, and so by the time they become of age, of adult, or they become an adult, they can then have something so that they can actually invest in themselves. And that's a very important step, and something certainly that we have to be thinking about as a country as well in terms of our way forward. So, as I said, things are changing, major differences. People are living longer. You've got more women in the workforce. You've got people having far smaller families. Many people are living single lives. They don't want any children at all. And so within that mix, you still have to find a balance point. And otherwise, we're not going to be having a world of work without people who can work. Right? And so it is, of course, a very important issue for unions to be also thinking about within that very same context. So lots to think about for Labor Day, but that's all the time we have for our dish of the day. And of course, at this time, we're going to be taking in our weather report, which is coming right up.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Girl. And now we take a look at the latest weather report, which is made possible with the compliments of Island Style Thailand Bath.
I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Thailand Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
It is time for the latest weather report as of 12 noon today for the 28th of April 2026. And our forecast to this hour is Lemuel O'Shaughnessy. The forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. The winds will be blowing from the east near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. And the weather, partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with a few brief showers. That is, winds blowing from the east near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. And the weather, partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with a few brief showers. Moving on with the marine forecast for seas in a 25-mile or 40-kilometer radius from St. Lucia. The Castries Harbour's high tide will be at 16 after 2 this afternoon, the low tide at 27 after 7 tonight. And the Vieux Bay's high tide will be at 23 after 3 this afternoon, and the low tide at 6 minutes before 9 tonight. The seas are slight to moderate with waves 3 to 6 feet, the same as 0.9 to 1.8 meters in open waters. For the Lesser Antilles, it's partly cloudy skies, occasionally becoming cloudy with a few showers. And the weather summary, the Atlantic high pressure system will generate moderate easterly winds across the eastern Caribbean region during the next couple of days. And patches of low-level clouds drifting along with the wind flow will cause a few showers over the islands during the Lesser Antilles, during the forecast period. Again, a recap of the weather summary. The Atlantic high pressure system will generate moderate easterly winds across the eastern Caribbean region during the next couple of days. And patches of low-level clouds drifting along with the wind flow will cause a few showers over some islands of the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. That is the official weather report. Join us again in the morning at around 6 or 7:30 thereabout for our next report from the Met Service. Thank you very much, Lemuel, for the update at this hour. The weather was made possible by Island Style Thailand Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 #1.
Girl, I've I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with these tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous tiles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 4523046, 4523046, as well as our WhatsApp number that is 2846001, 2846001. And of course, I know many people are out there still watching iShow Speed and wondering what he does. Well, he's bringing a lot of attention to St. Lucia right now. I think over 70,000 people following that live. I'm sure there are a lot of St. Lucians on that as well, and people from around the Caribbean. Let's take in our first call for the day. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom. What's on your plate today? How are you doing, caller? Okay. Yeah. New Year's Day wasn't a holiday. Wow. Oh boy. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the number of people, the unsung heroes, the individuals who really had to, work so hard, and today we take a lot of these things for granted. We take them for granted completely. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, I mean there are some limited programs that exist that provide some support, economic costs, but it still is pretty limited. Some countries have been able to provide free university education, free tuition to their citizens. Barbados, for example, has been able to do so for a number of years. And then a little bit more recently, Trinidad has been able to do so as well. So they certainly have been allowing their people a very significant opportunity, which does not come as easy for the average St. Lucian at this point. So we certainly do have a ways to go in terms of efforts in respect of education. Definitely, it's not adequate. We still have a lot of children not ending up in a post-secondary program. The majority of the cost of Sir Arthur Lewis Community College is paid for by the government, but you still have some fees. And even for some, those fees are too much. So yes, there is a challenge in terms of providing universal post-secondary education, which would be at least the first 2 years of a program. Well, at the South Lewis Community College level, it would be an associate degree program, and then perhaps to allow for an individual to then go on and support their efforts for another 2 years at a degree program. But in the case of we heard recently in the case of nursing, there's been support there for students who want to do that, but still not where we need to be, certainly, in that journey. Some may tell you that we obviously have to balance and be frugal and what have you, but I think we still have to see it as an investment in the future. Well, that was back then. Right now, I suspect that every child will be getting an allowance because they have the same challenges too. Mm-hmm. Sorry, who? Mm-hmm. 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 Well, because they figured they probably figured that most people will have one, but you want to encourage them to have two. So then they give the incentive after the second at the second. So I could somewhat understand that. That methodology. But at this point, mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, which is exactly what we were saying earlier on. Yeah. I just repeat what you said again because you broke up a little bit. Okay, I think I caught what you said. Mm. All right, then, caller. Thanks very much for that. And of course, there was in fact a press release coming out today from the Prime Minister's office entitled Government Introduces Newborn Support Grant to Assist Families at a Critical Time. And it reads, the government of St. Lucia has introduced a targeted newborn support grant to ease the immediate financial pressures families face after the birth of a child. The one-off grant of EC $1,000, effective from August 2026, forms part of the government's broader social protection framework and represents a strategic investment in early childhood development, recognizing the importance of early life in shaping long-term health and social outcomes. In presenting the policy during the recently concluded debate on the Appropriations Bill 2026-2027, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre explained that the initiative is designed to help offset essential costs associated with early newborn care and the immediate postnatal period, including nutrition, transportation, and basic infant supplies. Quote, this is about ensuring that more children in St. Lucia are given a healthy start from the very beginning, Pierre said. By reducing immediate financial pressures on families, we are strengthening households and investing in the country's future. The initiative represents timely support for families at a critical stage in a child's early development. The government emphasized that the newborn support grant complements existing public health care services, including antenatal care and community health programs, by addressing household-level financial constraints that may limit access to care. This includes improved access to primary health care services, including free laboratory and ultrasound services for pregnant women, supporting early detection, consistent antenatal care, and improved birth outcomes. The measure builds on a broader suite of ongoing policies aimed at reducing financial pressures on households and strengthening social protection across the life cycle. These include, but are not limited to, the removal of VAT on essential food items, expanded support for under the school feeding program, and increased assistance to pensioners. The 2026-27 budget further advances this approach with additional measures to strengthen family support systems, including a review of parental leave provisions following childbirth and a review of the Affiliation Maintenance Act. Together, these interventions reflect a coordinated and sustained approach to easing the cost of living while improving outcomes for families, particularly the most vulnerable. The program is fully budgeted within the National Social Protection allocation and will be administered through established systems to ensure transparency, accountability, and equitable access. That press release coming from the Office of the Prime Minister today, dated April the 28th. And so, of course, giving some more context to that, including the matter of reviews of parental leave, of course, that one pretty important, including the matter of paternal leave and whether it's transferable. Those are provisions that you see in many countries these days, as well as the issue of child maintenance, that being raised there. Many a time individuals have lamented the fact that the mandatory child maintenance or child support, as it's termed, allowance here in St. Lucia is inadequate. Of course, there are some who push back and say that the fathers may already be under pressure, but of course that is perhaps besides the point. And the so that is where it is at. And I think right now maybe $200, and many have been calling for that to be increased. So that note, of course, very important. Now, also want to make mention that tomorrow we will be seeing the kickoff of the St. Lucia Jazz Junior Jazz and Arts Festival that's happening at Serenity Park. And, of course, that is being put on by the Castries Constituencies Council, and it's going to be running for 2 days at Serenity Park, Wednesday and Thursday from 10 o'clock. And that is an event that has certainly being looked after by many who enjoy the contribution of and the rise of young people, and so that they can see pathways to success through the Jazz and Arts Festival. And the Junior Jazz gives them a platform to begin that type of progress. So certainly very important. And I noted that persons were making the point that even looking at some of the performers over at the Miku Jazz of Viege, they were happy to see some young faces on stage and giving them an opportunity, a breakthrough opportunity as well. So very important that the festival also has as part of its mandate that platform for young people, and the Junior Jazz is certainly doing that, similar to how we have Junior Calypso for Carnival. It's certainly a very welcome undertaking indeed, and we do hope that that goes well. Of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And our WhatsApp number 284-6001. And lots of people out there looking for their breakthrough moment and their 2 minutes or 2 seconds of fame with Mr. Watkins Jr. I Show Speed. Of course, we're seeing lots of videos being posted. Of course, some of his own footage from his live feed, which I think nearly 70,000 people have been following, maybe even more than that at this point in time. When you have numbers in the region of 53 million people following this gentleman, and really does show the power of social media and the kind of society that we live in right now. Because here's a 21-year-old who is certainly living his best life, traveling around the world, starting from a very early age, following what is going on. Yep, here it is, 53.2 million subscribers. And since he's been around on his channel, 1,800 videos. That's a phenomenal number of videos, with 80,000 people watching Mr. Speed as he traverses St. Lucia and all that he is about, and really bringing lots of attention to a certain grouping of individuals, many of whom probably have no idea where St. Lucia is. And so, of course, the importance of social media and social media influencers in marketing right now is a big deal. I think quite recently, I think I'm seeing him jumping off the Osferre Arch somewhere down in near Cicero, near Kubari, and that of course showcasing all the very interesting things and adventures that you can do in St. Lucia, even if you are here for only a day. I'm not sure that he's going to get down to climb the Petors. That would certainly be maybe they'll bring him to the Tet Paul Nature Trail so that he can at least get a view of them from that side, or maybe he might be getting on a helicopter ride as well somewhere along the mix. But certainly lots of wonderful sights and scenes coming out of St. Lucia. And I think the beauty of it as well is the interaction with people on the street, and that is very, very important. And we have to realize that you can't get a better ambassador than the person who lives here and understands the place and can give you their own life experience. And so really great that that is going on right about now. We definitely wish it all the best. It's coming at a good time, of course, with all that is happening with respect to the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. I'm not sure that there are any more flights available to come in already, given at what we're seeing going on, with lots of interest, but certainly others will be looking at trying to capture a little bit more of St. Lucia in this regard. So we definitely wish the Tourism Authority and all those who are hosting and supporting the efforts of I Show Speed at this time the very best in terms of showcasing the island of St. Lucia. I think one of those areas that he's diving in, and of course so part of our island we don't really get to see very much, that's the underwater side, and the efforts at play by the Ministry of Tourism to look at some new diving options and underwater sculpture park. That has been, that's in the making really. And the thinking there is that if you can create some other attractions beyond the coral reefs, you allow for the coral reefs to get a little break, right? And you can pull people away to, although they're man-made attractions, they will allow for the natural attractions to be able to be utilized a little less. And there's a lot of pressure sometimes when countries end up becoming very well known for their diving, and then everybody wants to head to that country, and then it becomes a, your success ends up potentially harming the product that brings people there in the first place. So really important that you can get a nice balance in that regard. So all the best to the efforts in respect of St. Lucia tourism. That's our program for today, and of course we want to wish you a very good day, and we'll be back again tomorrow, God willing, for another one. Take care.